Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the Magical McDs. How we doing, Mrs. McD?
Fantastic.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's nice to be at the end of the week. So,
Welcome.
you saw the thumbnail. You know what this video is about. We've got some ideas for some resort hotel concepts that I don't think we're the first people to have this idea.
No.
But what sparked this was, Amber and I have been having this conversation for a while. And there's two things that have been going on. If you follow construction at Walt Disney World and the recent happenings, there's been two things. Number one is there's been kind of this move to construction of very pretty but arguably bland, unthemed hotels. So
they're diluting it, yeah.
So we're thinking, and again, we're not besmirching these hotels because I'm going to reel off some hotels and we love these places. But in terms of theming, they're not on par with like Caribbean Beach or the Wilderness Lodge or the Polynesian.
Right.
So some of these hotels that we're referencing are the Riviera. Again, we love the Riviera.
It's one of the nicest hotels I've ever stayed in.
We think it's beautiful.
Yeah,
there's some faux beauty there. We'll get into that. But we like it. We like it a lot. But it's very bland and it's light on theming. Grand Casino Tower at the Coronado Springs. Now, this one is falling back on existing theming that's already at the resort. But if you took it just as its own standalone, again, I love it. We love Grand Casino. We had a great time staying there. We did a great video about staying there. It is light on theme. Now you could argue, well, yeah, Adrian, but that's a convention center hotel. That's why. But these are the rule, not the exception. Right. The new Island Tower at the Polynesian Hotel. Mm-hmm. Very nice when you walk in. It's got some beautiful, gigantic wood doors. It's got some beautiful hanging, right? Some
There's some greenery.
Right.
And I'm wondering if the caveat to that is, does DVC, I'm sure they've got to be testing DVC owners, right? They've got to be asking them what they want. Maybe DVC owners are saying they want less theming. Maybe.
But that doesn't apply to Grand Casino.
No, it doesn't.
So
no explanation.
But I'm glad you said that because the cabins is another thing that comes to mind. Again,
God, that was a wonderful stay. But
we loved it. We weren't attached to the old cabins, but there's no arguing that the theming on the old cabins is very much a rustic log cabin. It's what you'd expect. The new ones are very much more bland, just kind of generic, nice. And that's the direction Disney's going in. And by all signs, it's going to continue because they're building the Lakeshore Lodge. Is that what we're calling it?
It is.
Formerly Reflections Lodge, next to the Wilderness Campground, where River Country used to be. And I'm thrilled it's going to be on the lake. I'm thrilled they're going to put a lazy river in. We're hearing that news. But I'm afraid that, again, it's going to be a little bland. I don't think they're going to capture the theming that the Wilderness Lodge has, for example.
We're watering down the Imagineering of these resorts. Yeah.
And I think, the height of Disney Imagineering in their resorts came, I think, in the Eisner era when you had the Boardwalk Hotel go in, you had the Yacht Club go in, you had the Beach Club go in, you had Riverside, French Quarter.
Yeah.
These are the height, I think, of themed hotels. The Wilderness Lodge.
Epitome.
Yeah, the epitome. On the other end of the spectrum, Disney has gone too far in recent years. And this might be part of the problem. What we're referring to is the
Star Cruiser?
The Galactic Star Cruiser, the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. Now, you could argue that wasn't strictly a hotel. That was more of an experience.
Yeah, and it's an experience that we didn't get to try.
Because
we would have loved to.
One of the big things people point to as the reason it failed was
price.
Way too expensive.
It was so expensive.
Very expensive, but...
And we would happily have tried it had we gotten the opportunity.
Totally.
When they decided to do away with it. Like, there was no in between. It was whatever, $4,000 for not even a whole 2-night stay, right? Like, I forget.
It was like $6,000 for a 3-day experience, I think.
Right, but I think it was only 2 nights, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so...
like 2 nights, 3 days.
You never really got... And I know you can also make the argument that you go into Hollywood Studios, you could, that you didn't have to buy your own, ticket into that, where AP didn't matter. There's a lot of things that you can argue, but I really wish that when they made the decision that was no longer going to be an offering, that we could have at least experienced it at half the cost.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because there's no arguing that from at least from a hotel perspective, forget the fact that it was also an experience, we get that. But from a purely hotel experience, it was incredibly, you can't get much more themed than that, right? I mean, it was not only, it was an immersive interactive experience that assumed you were in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, and it looked fantastic.
So at one end of the pendulum, you've got kind of these bland Grand Destino Tower, Riviera resorts, and at the other end you have over the top.
Swung too far.
Yeah, like it's like a Renfest, but you're on the Star Wars Star Cruiser. And they've really gotten away from the magic and I think the resorts that people love. And again, I'm referring to the Wilderness Lodge, the Polynesian, which was, an opening day hotel, Boardwalk, French Quarter, what have you. These are some of the favorites that people love. So, Amber and I have been talking about this for a long time. We've heard other people talk about it, and it's like, what could they do to get back to their roots? And we had some ideas, and with a little help of AI, which you're going to see in a few minutes, we did some working with the Google AI image generator. I think it's called Gemini. Is what I use. It's incredibly precise. I was amazed at its willingness to use the Disney name in some of the images it created. But it basically brought to life just some general concept art for ideas that we've bandied about for fun every time we visit the theme parks. And
sure.
The two we decided to concentrate on were, and I know Amber's most excited about that, and I think this is going to be the thumbnail, is first and foremost the Haunted Mansion. And then we also talked about, because I saw somebody else on, I think it was on one of the Facebook pages a long time ago, they had put some AI-generated images for an Avatar-themed hotel. So I decided to run with that, too. So let's talk about these concepts. First of all, there's no denying that Disney needs more rooms. I could argue they need a fifth gate, too, but the hotels are incredibly expensive, and they're selling out consistently.
Yeah.
So the demand is there. They need more supply to meet demand.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's lacking, in terms of Disney World, at least in Orlando, is an in-park hotel experience. You kind of get it with the Beach Club, arguably the Yacht Club, because it's so close to Epcot.
I would agree.
People who are just in love with the Contemporary or the Grand Floridian or even the Polynesian would argue they're kind of getting it because they're on the monorail loop, but they're not. If you've been to Disneyland, you know what we're talking about. The Grand Californian is the first truly, in the United States, in-park hotel.
You can't get better than that.
You're walking from hotel property to theme park property, and there's nothing in between you. The hotel has its own entrance.
And that's an amazing experience in and of itself.
The magic
I mean, I would even argue, I'm sorry to say, but I would even argue that the Grand Californian isn't as themed as I would like it to be, but what puts it above is it's connected to DCA. So.
Yeah, I think it fits because where it really attaches, if you're not familiar with Disney's California Adventure, the part of the park it attaches to is kind of the Sierra Nevada mountains portion of that park.
That was well thought out. Yeah. So I do think that wasn't just, like, oh, let's slap it there.
Right. So there is, in a sense, a theming match, at least a location.
Theming there. Yeah, absolutely.
And now what we're going to get in we're weeks away. We're not even months away. We're weeks away now from the new hotel that they're going to be opening at Universal Studios Orlando. The Helios Hotel, which I think we've mentioned in other places. We are booked to stay there the week after it opens. So stay tuned for that. If it's something you want to see, make sure you subscribe to the channel because that's going to be forthcoming. I can't wait. We've got 2 nights booked the week after it opens. And that hotel literally sets at the northern end of that park. Apparently every room has a view of the theme park. And it's tickled pink about it. There's nothing more exciting than staying in a resort that is basically attached.
It's in the theme park is the point.
So we decided to run with these concept ideas. For the Haunted Mansion, we kind of bandied about, I think, so the premise here is Disney should go back to building highly themed resorts, number one. Yeah. And number two, if possible, could you put it in the theme park? Now, with the Haunted Mansion, we struggle with this because we're not sure a Haunted Mansion themed resort necessarily fits well into the Magic Kingdom.
I don't think it does.
Right, where would you put it? I mean, I don't even know.
So,
Villains Land?
So, here's the thing, is that had we talked about this a year and a half ago, like before they announced Villains Land.
Yeah.
I may have been able to make a case for it there, but we're at a place where we know that Villains Land is going to start with Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
Like the actual
attraction. Yeah.
So I think that would be a bit confusing.
To have a resort hotel.
Yeah. Unless there's a way to make the actual Haunted Mansion attraction part of also the resort of the hotel, which I don't know that there's the land or the space for that.
Can you imagine walking from the lobby onto the ride? It wouldn't work.
Yeah,
it wouldn't work.
Right. So I don't, like, personally, if we're talking about like just the cohesiveness of that and the whole experience, I think it might be confusing too, because for when we're talking about immersion and, you know, like what we can do to like really be in that like space, in that environment, it would be a little jarring to see multiple like haunted mansions, right?
It would.
Like you'd be like, oh, that's a little confusing. So I think that it should be in my personal opinion was that we should add to the Port Orleans Riverside. And let me explain.
Not French Quarter.
Not French Quarter.
Okay.
So let me explain why.
Defend your proposition.
Quickly. So I think it should be in like the manor area, which is currently themed as like the princess rooms. Royal Princess, right? So we stayed there.
But that's just a room. You're talking about retheming the entire building, maybe.
Right. Well, not even...
Or building something new.
Building something additional.
Okay.
So I feel like you had mentioned that it would be like adding on to the Coronado, right?
Yeah,
like this would be kind of like a Destino Tower.
Right. Its own
but
standalone.
For Riverside.
Because I don't think the existing buildings at Riverside would work. First of all, their exterior entrance. And I think for the Haunted Mansion concept to work, you'd have to have interior rooms.
Okay.
Interior hallways. Okay. So I think the price point, it would be similar to Grand Casino 2 in the sense that, and that's how it works there. Those are obviously interior hallways in the Grand Casino.
Yeah.
And you'd have to have a similar price point. This would be a higher tier experience.
Sure, yeah.
Than the regular Riverside rooms.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Totally. And I think being surrounded by those manors, like those outbuildings that are like the white ones that are, if you're familiar with Riverside, they have the Alligator Bayou and then they have the manors.
They do.
The manors look very similar to what Disneyland's Haunted Mansion looks like.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying I think this is the perfect place for it.
Yep.
It's very Nolans themed. I think it'd be wonderful. So
I do.
Yep.
The other option is just putting it somewhere on its own. Just picking a new plot of land.
Sure.
And putting the Haunted Mansion Hotel.
Sure.
It could be close to the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could put it on the resort loop where it is right now. Heck, you know, it's a little late now, but they could have put it where they're going to build this lakeside lodge.
Okay.
You know, that'd be work with the swampy environment.
I think of it would have helped.
It would definitely conflict with Fort Wilderness.
It would have, yeah.
So I don't. That's not the best, but it's a
but
big
I feel
lake.
like on the swampy. So
it's a big lake.
this is the point that we're trying to make is that I wonder if these brainstorming sessions are happening. Like I really don't want to call out Imagineers because like I feel like. Please tell me that the Imagineers that are there are passionate about being Imagineers.
Yes.
Because I mean, are we cringy Disney adults? I really hope not. But we do really love Disney. And I feel like we have ideas that would be... let's just talk about it. Is anybody talking through this? Like, I would love to be a fly on the wall.
I feel like a Haunted Mansion thing to tell. So let's we've been talking a lot. Let's go to some of the art we've generated.
Okay.
Through again, I used Gemini to create the vast majority of these. I usually use I just googled free AI image generators and use those. Gemini seem to be the best. So we have one here. There's I'm going to start with in no particular order. Here's one of the Haunted Mansion pool. that looks good with
I
some
love
statues
this.
on the
Yeah.
side. Yeah, I mean, it looks
Yeah, I
like
love
this may be a quiet pool, not the main pool. Here we have a front desk concept. It might be, this is a little small, so this would probably be like a concierge desk, and I'm not sure how the ghost behind the guy at the desk here would work.
Okay,
but it's
I
the
think
gist. It's the concept we're going
What
for.
I will say is that, like, some of these concepts are not dissimilar to what's happening on Disney Cruise Line's
Yeah.
ship right now.
Right,
with
and I'll
the
throw those
Haunted
pictures
Mansion
in. I'll throw those
bar.
pictures in here.
Yeah, so I think they're there. I think they know
Yeah.
and are capable of.
Disney's already
some of
realizing
stuff.
this
Yes,
vision.
yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned the Haunted Mansion bar or the lounge on the cruise ship, because that's another one of the images I had generated was this lounge. Like, I love it. Look how cozy this is with the big chandelier. It really just captures the vibe.
I love this. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Again, another capturing a pool. Obviously, you wouldn't have ghosts coming out of your pool.
No, I'm actually fine with the ghosts coming out of the pool.
But this is exactly what a Haunted Mansion pool in Orlando would look like. You've got the palm trees, right? It's hot as heck here.
Yep.
And I can absolutely see something like this work.
What I will say is that the ghosts coming out of the pool in these images, none of them look like they're from what we know as the Haunted Mansion. So I feel like there was a little bit of a hallucination.
The AI takes some liberties.
Hallucination, as I said, with Gemini, which is fine, but at least you get the gist of what they're trying to communicate, and I don't hate it.
Not bad. Here, I mean, look, it's not hard to imagine what a room in a Haunted Mansion hotel would look like, but they've given us an image. I love the fact that they're going with a full, like, AI thinks we're still using old school full-size televisions here, which is hilarious. And it looks like they're showing a horror movie on the tube television, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this is exactly what I would expect from a Haunted Mansion themed hotel, or a Haunted Mansion themed room for that matter. Here's another image of, I think, what would be basically a concierge desk at the hotel, not necessarily a front desk. This, I really like. This, you could almost see a grand lobby that's on par with the Animal Kingdom Lodge or the Wilderness Lodge.
I can see that.
Going up multiple levels with big chandeliers, and Madame Leota down in the center of the lobby, a fireplace, lounge, a lobby-themed bar that's similar to the cruise ship. Maybe a little library off to the side.
Is there a library? There might be.
Maybe a little.
I mean, a part of my what I want, yeah,
for some plants.
Part of what I really want is I want them to have the spaces that are in the Haunted Mansion attraction throughout the hotel. So I want a ballroom. I want a graveyard scene like the garden. I want those spaces. And what they are doesn't have to be, like, the ballroom doesn't have to be literally a ballroom, but
it can be a restaurant space like this image.
Yeah, I would love
to see a Haunted Mansion buffet. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to get into, like, creative theming on what we would call, you know, like
the food
999 tacos or something. Haunted tacos at the I don't know what the theme food would be. You guys can figure that out and let us know in the comments. Again, then another, like, they almost got the wallpaper right here in this hotel room.
Almost.
There was one version, I lost it. I don't know what happened to it, but they did create a version of the hotel room that had a Chase Lounger in it, and the pillow on the Chase Lounger actually had a Mickey Mouse. Like a hidden Mickey on it.
Okay, that's
cool.
I
was amazed.
That's really cool.
That the AI generator was willing to flout Disney's copyright. like that's probably why I can't find it now. Because it was like,
they probably pulled it.
We violated.
It generated and it was like, nope.
So, if that's not a perfect fit in a theme park, or attaching it to the Magic Kingdom, I think we can make the case that you could, if you went with the other idea we'd be bandied about was doing an Avatar themed hotel. Now, is that a good idea? Does that have the longevity of the Haunted Mansion? Maybe not.
Or maybe it does, though, because
made $3 billion. The second one made $2 billion.
And let's talk about, they are going
They've got
all in.
70 more movies planned.
To Disneyland.
Did Disney believe did enough to build an entire land in Animal Kingdom?
And then also and land. It's coming.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get that this is a thing for people. It's not my thing, but it also doesn't mean I wouldn't stay there.
Look, I enjoy the Avatar movies. They are Dances with Wolves in Space for me.
In space?
Yes, Dances with Wolves in Space. Yeah, the Kevin Costner movie.
With blue people.
I'm sorry, they're on Pandora. My bad. So you could call it an Avatar-themed hotel. You call it a Pandora-themed hotel.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. But I think there's space in the parking lot at Animal Kingdom, especially if you added a multi-level parking lot to compensate. If you had to take away some asphalt. And you could put the hotel right at Avatar Land. So the entrance to the Animal Kingdom would be at Avatar Land. The nice thing about that was, if you're a hotel guest, you could keep Avatar Land open because you wouldn't mess with the animals. There's no animals.
There you go, on that side of the park.
Land.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's one of the concerns, rightfully so, that they have, is they shut the park down early.
And they should be concerned.
Yeah, the health of the animals should be first and foremost. Yeah. So building a hotel at Avatar Land, it's kind of a no-brainer. So I
don't hate that. And, honestly, for somebody that isn't a huge Avatar fan, I will say the one thing that always gets me walking through Avatar is early morning or late night when it's dark.
It's the best time to go.
It is gorgeous.
It's the best time to go.
It doesn't matter if you're a super fan or not. You can't tell me that space isn't well-themed, and so I'm not going to fight.
So perfect segue, because one of the images, the many I had to create was for an Avatar-themed pool, and you get to see an example of that right here. Like, you got some gigantic lit-up mushrooms. I love that there's a couple of, I think it's a couple of guys. They're having a couple of Avatar-themed cocktails.
Cool.
At night in the Avatar pool. I love this. I also love the image above it here. Again, they're willing to use the Disney name for the sign here, Disney Avatar Resort.
Yeah.
But I like the concept for this lobby here, because it's almost like it's kind of an ode to the Tree of Life, you could argue.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
So putting something like that again, so you're imagining a grand lot. You guys will be seeing the images as we're looking at it. It's akin to Wilderness Lodge, Animal Kingdom Lodge, a very grand.
Yeah.
Goes up several stories, and you could have this tree that goes up, and
I mean, I would even argue that in this, if you're showing both of these, side by side, on the left hand side will be the actual Avatar Resorts signage, and that looks very wilderness to me. That feels very.
I know, yeah.
Right?
It wasn't willing to use the fonts. Some of the other images created, so I really like this. It's for a front. Again, it's a small front desk. The front desk would probably be bigger than what we're seeing here. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I love. You can just imagine walking into this. It's sort of like a rainforest cafe on steroids, right? I mean, and
everybody knows Adri loves a rainforest cafe.
Beautiful. I'm sure if the Animal Kingdom Lodge didn't already have a rainforest cafe, I'm sure they would figure out a way to shoehorn it into the Avatar themed hotel if they ever built it. So this could be the pool, a pool concept with waterfalls. And while this may seem fanciful, and there's the floating islands of Avatar, those are already there in the Animal Kingdom. So you can imagine a pool having a view of what's just.
That horizon would be. I mean, when you see this image, the horizon of that is breathtaking. That. I mean, how do you argue with that? It's
already existing. So you just incorporate this into the sightlines of a pool, and voila, you've already got production value right there.
Ta-da!
I mean, isn't this AI generator? It's breathtaking what it can do. I typed in a prompt. Show me a lobby based on Avatar, and within seconds it had it up, and completely for free. Gemini's amazing. Here, example of a room. I mean, again, exactly what you'd expect, a kind of a jungle themed Avatar room. I can do without the creatures and the insects that live on Pandora.
Me too.
But a carpet that lit up or something as I walk through the bathroom at night,
right?
Or whatever they want to do.
You know what I think would be really neat, and I don't know where have I seen this, and what sucks is I'm not going to be able to recall, but if they were able to heat generate the carpet, as you step, because I feel like I've seen that somewhere, where the black light, it lights up, but then it disappears as you. That would be so cool, and that would be very Avatar,
love it.
Very on brand, right?
Totally on brand. Here's another shot of what a pool concept. I would hang out there and have a few Mai Tais. or whatever they wanted to call it, the Pandora ties, right?
We've had drinks in Pandora before, and I can't remember what any of them are called.
I know they were very good.
They were. They
So,
had boba.
That's kind of what AI came up with. We had some other ideas. You had some other ideas for the Haunted Mansion Hotel, like as you're leaving.
Oh yeah. Okay. So here's an idea. I was like, I'd really like it if they did it in all the rooms, but that might be a little overkill.
Yeah.
So if not
No
in all
pun
the
intended.
rooms.
You gotta overkill the guests.
Honey. So if it was like, motion sensor, right? They know when you're leaving the hotel, like exiting in one way or the other, not entering. I want the bride, the hurry back.
Yeah. We're dying to see you.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And an exterior garden area that has like the singing headstones and the singing statues.
Oh yeah.
At night, that would be one heck of an attraction.
Amazing.
Yeah. If you did put that at Disney's Riverside, you'd have so many people dying to get into. No pun intended. Dying to get into Riverside to see.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't staying there.
And I think that we've proven, or Disney, not we, Disney has proven that Haunted Mansion is something that you can go all in on. Haunted Mansion people are Haunted Mansion people.
We saw one of our favorite people on YouTube recently, Jake, with Bright Sun Travels, talking about going on the newest Disney cruise ship that has one, and saying, look, you no matter what time of day, as long as that bar is open, there is a ridiculous line to get into that line. So
there's a way.
The demand is plainly there.
Yeah, we all know that there is a special place in people's hearts for Haunted Mansion. Yeah. I'll tell you, if you're new here, ours is because we got engaged on the Haunted
That's right,
Mansion,
we did.
So
in the Madame Leota room, the seance room.
The seance room.
One honorable mention that I did want to bring up, I didn't run artwork for it, but feel free to go on Gemini and do it yourself. Maybe we'll do it in a future video. If there's demand, there is, and I think this is really a no-brainer, is Tower Hotel. And I think you could definitely fit that in the park.
I would love that too.
At Hollywood Studios.
I mean, I think this is all, that you're speaking to my spooky heart. So
yeah, it's just, but the theming is right there.
Yep.
Now Disney would have to share that with Twilight Zone, so maybe that's why they'd be reluctant to do it. But
yeah, we don't know what the licensing agreement looks like for this.
So. Yeah, I know. That's for the Disney lawyers to figure out.
Yep.
So earn your money, guys. Make that one happen too. But I can see that existing in the
How
theme park.
cool would that be?
Again, it would be awesome. They could do the Skyliner right there.
There's so much.
Yeah, and that park. I mean, it's getting some love with the new Monsters Land, but yeah.
And other things, yeah.
Yeah, and other things.
Yeah.
I know they've gotten Star Wars Land recently, and that's neither here nor there. But those are our ideas. Let us know what you guys think would be some cool concept hotels. Maybe like a different geographic location. Maybe like an Arabian Nights hotel. That was one we bandied about.
Arabian Nights being like a la Aladdin.
I think that would be really cool.
I think that would be really cool.
On the Seven Seas Lagoon
Agrabah,
somewhere.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Me too.
What kind of themed hotel would you put in? Where would you put it? Would you attach it to a theme park? If you did, where would you attach it to a theme park? We'd love to hear your ideas. Because maybe one day, I mean, we've said, by the way, we know that Bob Iger and Josh Shamar are big fans of the channel. They were the first 2 subscribers they watch.
Duh.
So let your opinion be heard.
For sure.
Let us know in the comments. I think that's all I have to say about this, right?
It is.
Yeah, I'm excited. Check out Gemini AI. It was a great tool. If you've made it this far,
pretty cool.
Please subscribe. We're at, as of tonight, 626 subscribers. Woo. We're on our way to 1,000.
That's a Stitch number. 626.
You know, we need a Lilo.
66.
We need a Lilo and Stitch themed hotel.
I
they kind of have it. It's the Polynesian.
It's the Poly, right?
But
right.
They can always do another one. Let's do it. Put it in Los Angeles.
I'd love it.
Anaheim. That's right. Put it in or Los Angeles, whatever. Thank you so much for watching. Please do all the things that YouTubers tell you to do. Like, subscribe. We definitely want to hear your comments about what we just talked about. Love to hear about that.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, and until next time, have fun storming the castle.
And stay magical.